Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to PSGL Season 27. This is the F2 tier for the PlayStation side, and we're at round number 8 at the Marina Bay Circuit. We're under the lights for the Singapore Grand Prix. My name is Jess, and joining me as per usual, we've got Dan. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing brilliant as always, Jess, and it's great to be back for the Singaporean Grand Prix. Last time we came here was all the way back in Season 24. That was on the previous game. So it's the first time we're coming here on F1 2020. The man in the Williams car and reigning champion Tomato was the one to win that Grand Prix. So we know that he is strong around here. But of course, this is a very high caliber grid. Championship leader Benjamin leads by 13 points ahead of Samu Bean, who is not racing today. Of course, Sammy Bean was also involved in an incident last week, which actually landed him gaining 2 penalty points on his license and a 5-second penalty, netting him only 8th position. So it is beginning to slip away from him a bit, but Benjamin can capitalise on this.
Yeah, Benjamin hasn't had any wins for quite a while now, so he also needs to step up his game as well. But we saw World Rally took his first win last time about, and it was the conditions that definitely helped him. He stayed on the strategy, which helped him in the wet conditions towards the end. And to be honest, he was struggling a bit, but he was loving it towards the end, which was great to see as well. So that puts him way up the standings, up into P50, not quite near the top, because Hadler's also on 16 points. So let's go through the standings. Obviously, we've got Benjamin and Samuel Bean at the top, Mish in 3rd, Fabi in 4th with 36. And we got Kazooie in 5th on 34. Table Clan 6th on 28 points. And we got Will in 7th on 25 points. Simmer in 8th, with 24. 9th, CC Brain on 19. Joy with Luca and Balanab. And we have Petrox in 13th. Hallow in 14th. World Rally in 15th. And then we got the others, which you can't see on your screens. And we've got the Constructors. Renault is still leading by quite some margin. 97 points over Alpha. Well, 97 points compared to AlphaTauri 79. Kazooie managed to get a podium last week. We got AlphaTauri in 2nd, McLaren 3rd, Racing Point 4th, Haas in 5th, Williams in 6th, Alfa Romeo in 7th, Red Bull in 8th, Ferrari in 9th, and Mercedes in 10th. And with not that long to go until the season end, I am sure the drivers are going to be more hungrier to get better results to help their team in the constructors or themselves in the drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, Singapore, very tricky track to nail on. It is one of the longest races, so it's really going to be a race of attrition around here. The first driver out on circuit is Greeny. He's really struggling so far this season, despite his strong performances in Season 26. I don't believe Greeny's actually picked up a single point loss in this season at all, so he really needs to step up to the plate today. He's just coming through the 3rd sector now, very tricky part of the circuit, and of course this is completely encased in walls, so if you're going to go off the circuit and run wide, you could find yourself getting some wing damage, but luckily I'd hope that these guys don't make those mistakes.
I hope so as well, as Greeny is about to go into the final corner to start his lap, and it's one of the longest laps on the calendar as well, and it's 31 laps here today, so we could be here for up to an hour if there's rain or a safety car, or even both. I hope there isn't a safety car. So you just pass into turn 3, you're now passing into the little kink of turn 4, and now heading in towards turn 5. Greeny really needs to make sure he scores some points here today. Now heading towards the boulevard, the DRS straight, one of the longest straights here. A lot of overtaking opportunities will happen around here. You're going to be going into 3rd here and then into 4th on exit. He's purple sector 1 at the moment, heading into one of the tricky walls that people almost get caught out on as well. Now heading towards the right hand side of this corner, you're probably going to be braking just around about the 75 meter board here. Is quite tricky to negotiate around here, and now you're heading towards one of the bridges here, and he's heading in towards 1st gear in this hairpin, because otherwise it's going to be quite hard to nail, to be honest with you, at this moment in time. But he's not doing too bad. I think he's just a bit of a banker lap. He's got more fuel in the car, but I'm sure he's probably going to improve as much as he can at the moment, as you're heading towards the start of sector 3 now, and you're going to be heading towards under the grandstands at this stage to try and get possible turning, and Greeny has invalidated there, Dan, so he's not going to be saying a lap at the moment.
And World Rally at the moment, he's also invalidated on his time, and so has Tomato. They're all really struggling to get around the circuit. Someone filling in for Manolo La Machina also has invalidated his time. The only driver that's furthest up on his lap is Lamp at the moment, who hasn't invalidated. Luckily, he's just coming into the third sector, regardless of what the other drivers ahead of him would have set. This will be the provisional pole time with 13 minutes to go. So Lamp could see himself in a good position today. We'll see him now coming through the final sector and into one of the last chicanes. It's looking quite a clean lap. He's riding all the curbs to maximize the track as much as possible, and he comes into the pit lane, unfortunately. So we're not going to see a lap from anyone yet, and we're a third of the way through the session.
Yeah, it is quite hard as well, and I have a feeling I probably know why as well, as I've just been told by the big man himself, Mr. Big C, that it's going to be a dry start, but it's not going to be dry for very long in the race. It's going to be rain for the majority of the race. So, yeah, it looks like we're going to be there for a very long time. So I wonder if most of these drivers have gone for a wet setup compared to the dry setup. And that probably explains why everyone has opted for the soft tyres, apart from Luca, who is on the medium tyres. Hopefully Luca has checked the weather forecast, because otherwise he's going to be in a hell of a lot of trouble. So starting on the softs probably won't be too bad, as long as the rain doesn't, basically comes out sooner than most of these drivers think. Heading towards the final corner, Luca comes across the line, and it's a P2 for him on the mediums. Very respectful for him so far.
Yeah, well, of course, this is a high degradation circuit, so it might be split on the qualifying as to where they actually want to put their car, because, of course, with the rain coming, it is kind of just a whole window rather than a set time where you will have the wet conditions. So they could be gambling for the softs to be as fast as possible. They do die out very, very fast around this circuit, and in a normal dry race, it's almost a curse to be inside the top 10. It's not a good position to be in, so they are going to have to really think about this and kind of predict when the rain will be coming, depending on where they're starting on those tyres. So that's why I think Luca has opted for those mediums, because he might be thinking that the rain will come a little bit later than the softs lifespan. Other than that, the other two drivers, Benjamin and Midnight, to put in a lap, they've decided to go on the softs. So it's really a split strategy around here.
Yeah, definitely. And the softs don't last very long at all. It lasts 9 laps, but 9 laps around, I would say the likes of China would be all right, because China only lasts 7 laps. But Singapore, overheating is an issue. You're going to lose the rears quite a lot around it, and obviously it's high temperatures where the Singapore Grand Prix is usually held. Obviously it wasn't held last year in real life due to the pandemic and everything, and it may not be held this year either. So this is a chance to see the track in the flesh for the first time in quite a while. Actually, as we said, we haven't been in Singapore for quite a bit. Simo is about to start his lap too, as I think Mish is on his lap as well. We got to keep an eye on any invalidations, I have to say. And talking about invalidations, I wonder if that's going to be a sign that we're going to probably see a lot of penalties around it tonight in the race, especially when they have the wet to deal with. And as I just say, Mish is invalidated as well. I swear, Dan, every time I follow someone, they invalidate a lap.
Yeah, well, someone yet to invalidate at the moment is Kazui. He's just coming up to the third sector. It was 2/10 quicker than Misha's second sector time, so he's looking really, really strong on this lap so far. Coming under the grandstand, a beautiful part of the circuit, really driving it to the absolute limits is Kazui here, and he's just cut the corner, and he's invalidated that one. So they're really struggling to put laps in. Only 3 drivers have actually managed to complete a lap. It looks like he's going to maybe try and go again, though. He's backed off on that one. So as Hadler's actually just putting in a lap, and he's one of only 4 drivers. It's a 34.3, so Midnight still remains at the top of the session, but they are really, really struggling to actually hook a lap together.
A lot more people down are actually also going on the medium compounded tyres as well. We got Midnight that's fitted them at the moment, Luke obviously from earlier on, Benjamin, Banner, World Rally, Name Changer who's going out on them, and KJ Elting, and Table Clan. Now just a quick reminder, there's a few drivers that can't be here tonight. Obviously, we've got someone in the Haas, that's KJ, and we also got Lamborghini, who is in the Red Bull for Manalo tonight. Manalo can't make it as well, and the drivers actually got into the lobby very quickly tonight. We were able to start pretty much on time as Greeny was going to set another lap, but unfortunately he has invalidated once again. He doesn't have much soft tyres to use, to be honest, so he's going to be in very big trouble.
I'm just reading in the chat at the moment. They're saying that they're invalidating on purpose so they can start on the medium tyres. And a couple people do agree with that one. I suppose I can see where that's coming from, but why not do what Luke has done and put in a valid lap on the medium tyres? You can start way up the order on on the right set of tyres. So really, the only drivers making that mistake are Midnight, Hadler, and Benjamin. Everyone else still can go out on the mediums if they really did want to, as actually Fabi just completed a lap. So McLaren going to have a good starting in this race if no other drivers can actually put in a lap.
Yep, I agree with you, Dan. And to be honest, Hadler needs some much better results in the Drivers' Championship at the moment. He's not showing his form like he did last season, but there's still a few more races to go. Obviously, we've got this one, and we've got round 9, 10, 11, and 12. So after this race, we've got 4 rounds to go. So plenty of time for some of these drivers to get a shock result, maybe, like we saw last week with Rally. Speaking of his teammate, Lamb's just about to start his lap heading towards the final corner. Tomato has invalidated again. So, yeah, but I guess he just wants to have a feel with the stop. Ow! And that's a spin and a half. He almost went 360, and he's reversing as well, and he's hit the wall as well, so he has to go into the pits. Yeah, I'm guessing the way this is going, he may be doing a last 2 challenge if he's not careful.
Yeah, well, he's starting in 9th position at the moment. I think they base it on the number that your car actually has. So if you want to be in a better position, you kind of have to have a lower number. He's got 21 on his car. I assume that everyone else is lower than him. I've seen that in other leagues happen as well, as yeah, they're just not putting in valid laps. So I am starting to think that they are doing this on purpose. Actually, Name Changer has gone out on a set of mediums, and he's in the 3rd sector. He has invalidated on this run, so it's a bit confusing as they're all just waiting in the pit lane at the moment. 2 Mercedes are out on circuit. CC Brown has actually just begun on a lap. He's on the run up towards turn number one now.
Yeah, he is as well. CC Brain was also another driver that benefited from the changing conditions last week. Score Mercedes' first podium of the season in real life, of course. The Mercedes were doing a lot better, and for those of you that don't know as well, Lewis Hamilton was announced for a year contract with Mercedes as well. See if he can make it an 8, but CC Brain, I know, would want to keep his podium streak up, but it's a lot difficult because this is a high caliber of drivers. It's a lot faster than last season. CC Brain was actually 2nd in the F2 Championship last season when there was line, but obviously there's no line, no assist at all. He's struggling quite a bit, but he knows around Singapore, if a lot more drivers start to make mistakes, then there's going to be, well, a chance for him to actually get some points. It's like also Baku as well, Monaco and Vietnam as well, as Simo has been disqualified for parking in a dangerous location and can't quite see where it is. I think that is heading towards, I would say, I can't even tell because his car's gone now. So, yeah, he'll be starting at the back of the grid because obviously he's been disqualified. But I'm sure that won't be a huge issue for him due to the conditions that the drivers are going to be facing at this moment. And that's happened with his AI as well. So that's worrying.
Yeah, all their applications seemingly are crashing. We've had issues with Simo, Fabi, and Kazui as well. Fabi's just managed to get back in the session. I believe Kazui was already in for a while, so Codemasters doing what Codemasters do best, and that's not fixing their online platform. So brilliant to see from them. But Greeny is a driver who is on a lap. He's just through at turn number 9 and now on the run up towards turn number 10. He's got a couple cars in front of him here. Simo's AI car, which has been disqualified for some reason, is out on circuit at the moment. So yeah, that must be a glitch that is to be addressed. But now through the Anderson Bridge and up to the hairpin to maybe pick up a bit of slipstream from Lamakina. He actually pulls out the way. Of course, it's not legal to give purposeful is slipstream to the cars in front, but it's a 101.5 through the second sector for Greeny, so he's looking really strong so far on this lap. He is on a set of softs, so this might put him at disadvantage come race time, but track position could mean everything at a circuit that is difficult to overtake at, as now just up towards the little grandstand under the bridge section. Brilliant part of the track, and now towards the final chicane. Greeny is looking like a valid lap finally. Oh, really wringing the neck out of the car there, sliding through the penultimate corner now to finish up the lap. What can he do? He goes to the top. Is at 33.2, of course, probably running a wet setup at this time, but yeah, he is going to be starting on pole position.
I think I know the Mercedes are probably going to go for the gamble strategy. It worked for CC Brain, and now it's Greeny's turn, so he's going to hope the rain is going to come in soon. Now, we did say at the start of the stream, Samuel Bean wasn't going to make it. It turns out, last minute, Samuel Bean was like, I'm actually free to race now. So Samuel Bean is not out on circuit yet, but he is racing it tonight. So that's good news if you're Samuel Bean and want to chase the championship. Not good news if you're the likes of Benjamin, who wants to extend the gap at the moment. But speaking of Samuel Bean, he is out at the moment. I thought he was in the pits for all of a sudden. Now he's on a lap, so that was a little bit too confusing as well. But let's see what Samuel Bean does on the mediums. Don't forget, they only have obviously the balance and the harder option. They only have one set of mediums to use in qualifying. So if you mess up your medium run, you're pretty much stuff, to be honest, and you probably have to set a faster lap on the soft, or it's probably qualifying towards the sharp end of the grid, well, the end of the grid, to be honest. So Bean needs to, Bean has just cut the corner there and he's invalidated, so yeah, that's his medium run sorting, unless he can go out again, but we'll have to wait and see.
A medium driver on circuit at the moment is Lamakina, filling in for Manolo, who's not been able to make it tonight, and he's doing really strong on this lap so far on the yellow wall side. Looks like he's going to go ahead of Luca. Will has just put in a lap as well to go into fourth position. But what about Lamakina? He goes into third place, so Red Bull with a really strong start in this race. Of course, he won't be scoring points for the team that's based in Milton Keynes, but it's a really strong time for him personally, and that puts him on the second row of the grid directly behind Greeny, and he's going to be the lead medium runner. There's only 1 minute and 30 seconds left for these guys to put in a lap. If you're not out on circuit, which all the drivers are, then you are not going to be able to put in a lap.
No, it's good news that everyone's on the track, apart from Simmer, obviously, who is disqualified as well. And usually I time it wrong around Singapore, so at least these drivers are a little bit more aware. But you can see the traffic, especially towards Sector 2. I think we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cars around there as well. But pretty clear if you're the likes of a Mercedes driver and a Racing Point and a Red Bull as well. I think a Red Bull slowing down, I think, to get some clear air. I think that's Lamakina actually as well, who just finished the lap. So he's probably going to go out again, or might go into, actually no, he's not going to go out again. He's probably just going to go into the pits. But P4 is still a respectable lap time for him. So I'm guessing he's probably just going to dive it in so he doesn't use as much of his medium tyres. And looks like Lab will have to go out for another lap again, because he has invalidated. Everybody is on the mediums except Greeny and Mish. I wonder why Mish is going on the softs. Is he going to be another person to go for the gamble strategy, just like Greeny? Does he think the rain is going to come earlier than the other drivers think?
Well, it's really aggressive from Mish if he is going to be doing this, and if he can hook up this lap right, he will probably be on pole position ahead of the medium runners. Oh, of course, we'll see what he can do. He's just coming up towards the final corner now. He's a strong championship contender. What can he put a time in? He goes to 33.0. Maybe that could be the fastest time out of all of them, as the rest of the drivers are medium runners, as Hadler and Midnight, I believe, are the ones that you really do need to watch out for to actually fight with Mish in this qualifying session. But I'm just trying to see who's in the final sector. A Renault coming up to the line. That is Bean, and he goes into fourth position. Really strong from him. The clock has struck 0, so now if they're not, they are allowed to finish the lap that they are on at the moment, but they cannot start up on a new one.
No, they can't. I'm just trying to find who's about to cross the line. Will, I think, is slowing down, so he's not on a lap at the moment. But we do see a Haas about to come across the line. I believe that's KJ. Yep, it is a reserve driver from last week who scored his first point. can only manage 12th for now. We got another Renault coming across the line. Kazooie could only manage 3rd. Now we got an AlphaTauri 6th and 7th at the moment, respectively. That's going to be some team games, I think, played by AlphaTauri, which is great to see. Handler comes across the line. He can only manage 10th. And we got a Racing Point directly behind him. I don't think he can improve either. And we got, I think, the Alpha and one of the Alfa Romeo cars. I believe that's... no, that's not Table Clan. That's Name Changer coming across the line. Unfortunately, he has invalidated. Next, we got another Ferrari driver of lap. Can only manage 17th. Table Clan, Name Changer's teammate. 12th place for him. And I think that just leaves Will, who's slowing down. And CC Brain and Mish. I think Mish is going to go into the pit. CC Brain has unfortunately invalidated. I think CC Brain, Name Changer, Simo are the only 3 drivers not to set a lap time. But I'm just looking at the gaps between, I would say, 1st and 15th. Quite close, almost a second clear of everybody else. And Mish is probably going to be on the back burner for now. But if he times it right, this could be perfect for him. The only ones on the softs, Mish and Greeny, and Kazooie in 3rd. The alternate strategy, pole position, but don't forget there is a threat of rain, which is going to come very, very soon, very early on into this race. I hope it wasn't going to rain here today, Dan, but unfortunately the drivers and us are going to have to experience it.
So they're all going to have to get ready for a bit of a slugfest here today, of course. A very long lap around the circuit, and it is 31 laps in total. I believe time-wise, this is the longest race on the calendar as a whole. That is a whole 21 tracks, not just the PSGL calendar. We're just waiting for, I believe, Mish to retire or pull into the pit box. As you can see, the Racing Point team just wheeling him into the garage. So we will get going very, very soon. We haven't had any huge lobby issues, which is very great to see.
Touch wood.
Drivers seemingly stuck together at the first sectors. There we go. Now we're going to get ready.
Good. So we'll go through your championship standings very, very soon, as Will has just joined, so I'm guessing his game has crashed, and apparently the lobby is messed up, so I think we probably jinxed the drivers there a little bit, but we'll have to wait and see. So Mish on pole with Greeny in 2nd, Kazooie in 3rd, Midnight 4th, Samuel Bean in 5th, Ballina in 6th, Benjamin 7th, Fabi in 8th, Lamakina in 9th, then we got Hadler in 10th. They'll be starting on the tyres that they qualified on for the first part of the race at least. Then we got Luca, Table Clan, Will, Tomato, KJ, World Rally, Lamp. Those were the ones who set a lap time. And we got CC Brain, Name Changer, that did not set a lap time, and Simo that got disqualified. And that is your qualifying result for the Singapore Grand Prix, and I really don't know who's going to come out on top of this one. I think people have just got to see where the weather basically takes them around this track, and I've driven in Singapore in the wet. It's definitely not a nice feeling.
Yeah, well, Singapore's not the nicest circuit to drive in general from me for a standpoint, but I am not very quick. A lot of these guys probably do enjoy the circuit, but how about Kazooie's performance? 2.5 tenths off the back of Mish in that qualifying session on a set of medium tyres. You really do have to put him forward to be one of the favourites if everything goes his way. So Kazooie definitely one to watch out for. Of course, he will be able to go until the pit stop phase where the intermediates will become viable on that set, whereas the question still looms as to whether, oh dear, Tomatoes left the session. I'm really hoping we don't have a lobby restart today, but you'd have to say Kazooie's got to be the favourite.
Yeah, Kazooie, I think, obviously qualified very well on the medium tyres. His lap was very strong. So, yeah, I have to say he's with him in a strong fight as well. And Kazooie has got to really deliver when his teammate can't at the moment. And that's why the Renault drivers are leading the constructors, because they've been getting podiums, they've been getting points. Kazooie has had some bad luck in some races, such as Australia and France, and I'm a bit worried we may get a lobby restart as Tomato has joined at the wrong time, but he probably should have waited until the start of the race. But all the drivers are heading on their formation lap anyway, and we're going to see what tyres people outside the top 10 are going to be qualifying on. So let me just have a quick look on the tyres. I've just gone past them, there we go. So people outside the top 10, we've got Table Clan and KJ on the soft, so they're thinking the rain's going to come earlier, just like Midnight, Greeny and Mish. And everybody else is on the medium compounded tyres. So, yeah, another mixture of strategies. And hang on, let's put Samuel Bean in the back. and he didn't qualify 20th. So what's gone on there? Or is it just me? Hopefully the lobby's not decent to anything. Is it same P20 for you, Dan?
Yeah, it's P20 for me, so I think he probably got disqualified somewhere along the line. We just didn't notice it, but not
Very
good
strange
for him to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised we haven't gone for a lobby restart, just because of the amount of issues we've experienced with some of the drivers disconnecting and their games completely crashing. So I don't think. Oh no, Sammy Bean is actually saying in he's saying in the chat that he's not supposed to be in P20. So it's not just us being silly, but yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
of talk in the Twitter chat, so it's a bit of an issue.
I think the lobbies in F1 have been having issues, I think, on all platforms at the moment as well. And I have a feeling the lobby's going to cause even more issues with Tomato still in the session as well. So, yeah, just be prepared to not start the race straight away, guys, unfortunately. But we are prepared as well, so we'll see what's going on. I think they're probably going to continue anyway, because the admins of obviously Greeny and CC Brain, they're still going. They probably don't have a clue what's happening right now, so they're probably just going to wait until it gets worse, to be honest. But we're keeping our fingers crossed so we can get the race underway. And as all the drivers, I think, are going to start getting reset to track very, very soon, ready to start their session. 31 laps, like we said, await our drivers, and we have a few DRS zones and a lot of turns around here, around Singapore, and it's a counterclockwise circuit, so it's very, very enjoying for the drivers, quite tiring as well. So if you survive this race, then it's probably an achievement in itself. So I think hopefully all the drivers will get in. It's unfair for Samuel Bean to be starting last on the grid. I think, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe some drivers will let Samuel Bean fit through, or maybe the position will reset once we start the race. Well, only one way to find out. And here we go, as with the 5 red lights should be coming on. They are coming on. We are going to get a race done at least, but is it going to stay that way? And it is. Lights out, and away we go. And we've got a very good start from Greeny, and also a good start from Mish as they make their way through towards turn 1. I don't think not that major issues from the front, guys, because we also got a good start in the third as they make towards turn 3. Right now, we've got an Alpha Tauri going side by side with each other as well, giving us some good scrap. And it's hard to see the timings at the moment, so we don't know where people are. But so far, the drivers are keeping their cool at the moment. No major position drops at the moment. Samuel Bean has, I think, left the session as well because he is ghosted. So Samuel Bean having some huge troubles in this lobby, as it seems. But yeah, looks like a decent start from the soft runners.
Yeah, it looks like further back in the order, there's a lot of squabbling. The 2 Ferraris going side by side, and a Red Bull and Alfa Romeo also having a bit of a scrap. That's Luca and Table Clan. Looks like everyone has managed to get away without damage in this race, but Table Clan really hounding the back of Luca early on, of course, wanting to utilise these soft tyres to the best of their ability. They've got blue flags for whatever reason, which I don't think are playing any effect. It's just a bit confusing. I don't believe Tomato and Will were actually able to take control of their cars before the session started. Name changer losing a handful of positions to Bean and Simo there. So looks like he's struggling early on, but it has been a dream start for Mish, already pulling out a 1.3 second gap to Greeny, and he's got Kazui just behind him and Midnight as well. So the 2 Shazoo boys probably going to look to work together in this race. Of course, we don't encourage cross teaming in PSGL, but I guess you can't really stop them, as we'll begin lap number 2 very shortly, as Mish just rounds the final corner to begin lap number 2.
And I think someone had just said in the chat why Samuel Bean was put into last place, because don't forget Samuel Bean joined midway through the qualifying session, and if you join midway through quali, it somehow puts you in last place. So that is probably why he's been put in last place. But yeah, the cars are still ghosting for us, because obviously there's a few people, I think they were having a few issues. But yeah, I think the soft runners are probably going to start to struggle, I think, around about now, as we head towards, I think, just the middle part of lap 2. We're not on lap 3, by the way, we're on lap 2 at this moment in time, and I think Benjamin's up to 5th, Fabi in 6th, Ballina 7th, and Lamacrina also in 8th. KJ also having a good start in the Haas 2 in 9th place. We got Royal Valley and Luca going, we're having a battle there. Royal Valley now up into 12th position. Doesn't look like the rain is coming anytime soon. Unfortunately, you can't tell around this track when the rain is coming. So obviously, there's no dark clouds, which usually is a sign on these other tracks that we can tell that there's rain coming. You can't tell around Singapore or Bahrain, or maybe Abu Dhabi, but definitely not around Singapore or Bahrain, that's for sure.
Well, it just looks like some drivers are beginning to struggle already in this race. We're seeing some gaps beginning to form. I also think that there's issues with the timing sheets, because it's saying the Lamborghini is at a solid 1/10 gap behind Ballina, but that is fluctuating a lot just visually on circuit. So already issues are beginning to loom, but DRS will be enabled this time by, and already I'm seeing the rain begin to fall, so I don't think we'll be too far from a bit of rain intermediate action, as DRS now enabled, as I said before, but 2.3 seconds is the gap between Greeny and me. That'll put Greeny at a huge disadvantage in comparison to Kazumi, who's already hounding the back of him, coming up towards turn number 4. You can see he's braking a lot later than the Mercedes car. You can just see the confidence flowing over in the Renault, and here he comes now, looking to the inside. That is an easy move, and that is P2 for Kazumi ahead of Greeny, and now braking into turn number 5. That is the move solidified and done. He goes wide off the circuit there, but I believe that Greeny probably will begin to struggle and fall back down the order.
Yeah, I think so as well. The softs are definitely struggling with the overheating issues, but if the rain is coming thick and fast, it may help him a bit more cool down his tyres just a little bit, because it's probably hot on the rears at the moment. Mish doing a pretty good job. I think he's probably glad that the rain is coming soon, and he's been keeping a solid pace up the guys behind him, like Kazui, for example. But you know, Kazui will be catching by the lap, so if Mish starts to struggle, Kazui could fight back. Ballina actually got past Lamborghini, the same place as we've seen Kazui do earlier on. We could see Lamborghini goes to the left-hand side, going side by side into a very tricky corner there, as Ballina trying to make up for lost time, I would say, in terms of points. He was near his teammate in qualifying, not quite near his teammate at the moment, but look, he's looking to take advantage of that as he makes his way up the order. Lamborghini just very fast on this circuit. I think it's probably this street circuit it's made for him. Lamborghini, unfortunately, though, does get a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. Too many times, the first penalty of the session, and yes, DRS has been disabled, and everybody is making their way into the pits down.
Yeah, it's a huge bother for some drivers, because they're pretty much not able to make a pit stop. Hadler has been forced to stay out midnight. It's going to be stacked behind his teammate. So that is so unfortunate for him. He's actually just managed to get in on time, so a bit of damage limitation for his race time there, but Lamp has also been forced to stay out. So has, I think everyone else is actually in the pit lane, so it's just these two that are going to lose so much time in comparison to the drivers behind. But who has benefited the most? It looks like Fabi's found himself up in a net P2, and Misha's a mile ahead of everyone else. He completely avoided the traffic, and now he's going to be able to absolutely romp away with it.
Yeah, Mish has got quite a few wins this season. Actually, the only win that he have got was in France, which was round 4 of the championship. He's yet to get another win so far. He got close to a win in Australia, the first round of the championship, when he was fighting with Lee Finney. He actually won on track, but due to penalties, Lee took the win there. But yeah, he could be on course for his second win if he keeps that position going. I don't know if it's going to be Indus for the whole race, or if it's going to get heavier. Maybe some of the people in the chat will probably know more than we do. Will it? I wonder if it's going to stay like this, or if it's going to get worse and worse. And I think indications are it's probably going to get worse and worse, and a few people will probably go onto the wet tyres as well. And I think Midnight did the right thing for pitting, because I have a feeling you're going to lose so much more time when you're still out on circuit in these wet conditions, compared to basically when you're double stacking at the moment. So yeah, Lamp is probably gonna be forced to be overtaken by Mish. You can see Mish is already catching him, and you can see wet patches already starting to show. I think just through the chicane here and heading into sector 3, they are starting to struggle, but Mish is absolutely flying. Fabi actually in a net P2 as well. Fabi is having a fantastic start to this race, and Greeny, don't forget, he started, I think, one of the soft runners as well in second. He's in a net, I would say, net P7 or 8, so he's having a bad race, whereas Fabi is capitalising on it. Good job to Fabi in the McLaren.
Yeah, so Hadler and Lamp making their pit stops. I think it was the wrong decision to come to stay out. But you can already see just on the onboards with the drivers as well how much rain is falling on this circuit. It's almost a guarantee. Lamp has gambled. Lamp already on the wet tyres. This is a huge gamble for him, but he's got nothing to lose in this race. I think that might be race defining for him. It could go either way. So really gambling on the strategy there. But I definitely don't think we're too far from full wet conditions. And if Lamp can stay out and avoid making a second pit stop, he could be right on the money here, Jess. So yeah, you do have to watch out for him. But just want to comment on Mish. 8.4 seconds ahead of Fabi, and if you think back to France, that was also a dry to wet race, so he's a bit of a talisman in these kind of changeable conditions. Really good to see from him, and definitely could insert himself into the championship hunt.
Yeah, I'm almost certain as well, and I'm liking it. The championship is quite close this season as well. You don't know who's going to win it as well. He's not going to take the championship lead after tonight, but if Samuel Bean has a shocker, then Mish is actually going to get P2 in the championship as well. And Tomato has done something that drivers do not want to do, is cross the pit lane, exit line, and he got a 5-second penalty. They were warned in the stewards briefing pretty much every week, and unfortunately Tomato did not listen to that, and he's also gambled on the wet compound tyres as well. I think he's been having some internet issues, I think, today as well, as he's been twitching. Oh yeah, he's, I think, lagging, and he's lost his front wing as well. So yeah, I think I won't be surprised if he gives up, because he's in a lonely last place. But don't forget, there could be still safety cars, there still could be VSCs that could throw a spanner in the works, but we'll have to wait and see. It's going to be very hard for these drivers, I would say, to overtake. It looks like they're in a possession at the moment with these drivers, but at least we don't have to worry about DRS trains at all this race, which I'm so relieved about.
Just looking further back down the order, it seems like the wet runners really struggling at this point in time. I think Lamp has made contact with the back of Name Changer, and he's lost a bit of his front wing there. It is the front left end plate and a little bit of the main frame of the wheel itself. So well, that strategy is completely gone out the window, because regardless, he'll have to pit for a new wing. So realistically, the one less pit stop strategy that he was kind of pushing for is not going to really appeal for anything, as Mish just continues to stretch his gap. No DRS, of course, in the wet weather conditions. Really does kind of put a little bit of a killjoy on our fun, but that doesn't mean we won't see any overtakes, because someone who might be on for a move is PR1 Will in the Williams car. His teammate's just gone off in the third sector. He can't find a way past Ballina, but he is so close on the back of that AlphaTauri car.
Yeah, he is. I mean, Simo, another driver that does quite well on the back of them as well. So Simo, I think, can take advantage of any of those two make a mistake right now. Will is now 4 tenths. The gap is closing in on him. Ballin, I think, struggling more than Will. Will, another driver I know who is pretty much the king of wet conditions. Remember Belgium last season? He took the win. And meanwhile, unfortunately, Will's teammate Tomato has decided to call it a day. He is retired in the pit lane. No safety car calls because of that, and that will be his race over. Another race, I think, to forget for Shazoo Tomato, of course, from Team Shazoo, of course. And yeah, I think this season just not been the best for our reigning champion. Obviously, we're definitely going to be seeing a new champion at the end of the season. Tomato will have to hand his crown over to a new, well, basically a new driver. And it doesn't look like it won't go to Will, but you never know. Strange things have happened in this league, of course. But yeah, let's see what Will does heading towards the penultimate few corners. We're heading towards we're basically heading into turn 22, and then heading towards turn 23, the final corner, and he's not going to get the move done as of yet. Hadler's also got time penalty as well as name change. We're going to look onto the front with Benjamin, who's also on the back of Fabi. Benjamin is also liking these wet conditions too. If he keeps this up, he could possibly extend his championship lead to Samuel Bean, and Mish could close up. So Benjamin needs to get these positions up as soon as possible. We know Benjamin is improving race after race, and he knows he's going to learn from however many races he does on pretty much in these wet conditions, because it is quite hard around this track, but he's doing quite well. But look at the train between Benjamin, McKenna, KJ as well. KJ is up into 5th place. I mean, that is a strong race so far. Don't forget, he's a reserve driver. He got his first point last week, so he probably is not expecting this, Dan.
Well, KJ's a driver that I know quite well, and he's a very committed driver. And I definitely think he could see himself fighting with Lamakina as he's really onto the back of him, almost looking around the outside of the hairpin. That was a close call for KJ there, but he managed to avoid the rear of the Red Bull car. But talking about Benjamin, he's just chasing that elusive victory that has been looming over him the entire season. Championship leader, yet to win a race. Where have I seen that one? Oh yeah, Tomato. He took a long time to win a race last season, so it could be the same tale just repeated. So it's really good to see that Benjamin is still fighting in consistent positions. He just needs to really nail that consistency down in a race scenario and take the win. But yeah, as they're just beginning, lap number 9 is not looking like lap number 8 is not looking like the most exciting race in the world because it's rain affected. It's so difficult for overtakes in this weather, but it's getting so heavy. You have to expect the full wet tires to come on very soon.
Yeah, I think so as well. And the question is, when will these drivers think, right, the inters are not good, and I would go onto the wet tyres? And Benjamin's gained a few temps on Fabi once again. And I don't think it's ever happened in F1 when a driver has not won a race that has won the championship. But I believe it was IndyCar that's happened one time as well. But I have to look. I saw someone post a link somewhere on one of the Discord servers I'm in, but I can't remember which Discord server it was. So as soon as I find that link, I will probably share it to you on a stream, or maybe you can. I will share it on Twitter as well, because it's very interesting stat to say the least. But I'm almost certain Benjamin will have to get a win under his belt if he wants to win this championship. As long as he stays consistent throughout the rest of the season, maybe the wins may not matter for him at this moment in time. And yeah, we're only on lap 8, ladies and gentlemen. This is how long it is pretty much going to be. We're definitely going to be hitting pretty much the hour mark pretty soon as well, as Mish almost 13 and a half seconds over Fabi. He is not struggling at all, and Fabi is looking, I think, Will's
on the inside.
Will and Balliner side by side then. Balliner, Will, I think, really taking a gamble there, and massive send there as well. Thank you for cutting me out, otherwise I would have missed the battle there. But Will up into 11th place right now. He could be another favourite to possibly get some points, maybe a podium if the others start to struggle. World Rally up into 9th place right now as well. So interesting to see. Not many other people making moves at the moment, but we've already started to see surprises already, and Will is definitely one of them.
Looks like Balliner's not a fan of these more wet conditions and really just the changeable conditions, because he's already lost a second to Will, and the gap was about 4.5 seconds between Table Clan and Will. That has now decreased to just over 4 seconds, so you can see how he's really on a charge. He's got clear air and he doesn't have to sit behind anyone for a number of laps. So Will is definitely going to be a bit of a dark horse in this race. He'll be looming outside the top 10, and if he could just capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, then he could be in a very good position to pick up some decent points, which he needs in this championship. Meanwhile, though, Lamakina is really pressurising Benjamin at this moment. It seems like the guys in the top 5 are definitely the strongest in the wet, so they've really kind of come over to the same part of the circuit, which is good to see. A lot of these guys will have to save fuel towards the end of the race. I'm seeing yellow fuel lights on Benjamin, Lamakina and Midnight. That's the top 6, Grini as well, and Kazooie, so they're all running less fuel to I guess just have lighter cars in the wet conditions and make it easier to drive. But of course DRS not a factor in this race, so no DRS trains will be available. It seems like Benjamin's managed to catch up to the back. He's really sliding the car on exit of the hairpin at the end of the Addison Bridge onto the back of Fabi, though he can't find an avenue through. So it just seems like at this point in the race they are really struggling to find an opportunity to make a move.
Yeah, they are, which is unfortunate, but sometimes you do get races like that. Singapore plus rain does not go together. Remember the start of, I think it was either 2017 or it was 2017 actually. It was the first and so far only night race to be held in the wet conditions, and we all know what happened in the 2017 Singapore Grand Prix. It was chaos in lap 1, and I believe Lewis Hamilton won that year as well, so because he was the one that benefited from other people's mistakes. I wonder if we're going to see something similar here today. I think Mish is probably going to be turned into Mr. Dominant right now, and I think no one is probably wanting to, well, probably no one is getting close to him. That's why we're not following Mish at the moment, because he's doing everything right. 16 seconds, I think. Probably the most dominant we have seen is Midnight. Has got past KJ, but KJ is having none of that. Heading towards turn 5 then. The original DRS zone, but there's no DRS in the wet conditions. He keeps on to the right-hand side line on Midnight, and he holds on to 5th position. You can see Midnight probably going to be doing the cut back soon, heading towards turn 6 and 7, still trying to leave each other space, but KJ there, absolutely great switchback from him, and good at that. He's back up to P5. Bravo from him.
Yes, stoic and star-stunning defense from KJ there. He was managing to fend off Midnight. He was trying to brute force his way through at the exit of turn number 3. They were making contact all about each other. It looks like there's a lot of lag going on in the session, particularly on board with Midnight. They do seem to be glitching out just a little bit. I hope that's not my connection. It's not been the most reliable on PlayStation as of recent, but it was a really great defensive maneuver from KJ. He didn't want to just keel over and let him through. No, he's gone deep into the corner, and that has allowed for Midnight to close right up to him. But I think there's a bit of a hot spot there where they have to brake a lot heavier. It's so much more difficult in the wet conditions, especially in the heavy braking zones, where of course they've just come off a long straight. And they'll be heavy under braking. There's a lot of standing water there. Of course, there's a little bit drier on the racing line, but that does not stop the cars from slipping and sliding about.
Definitely not as well. You can see Greeny is caught up all of a sudden as well due to KJ's mistakes. Greeny might be back at this as well. Could we see Greeny take his first point of the season in the wet conditions? Let us know in the chat. Do you think Greeny would go from 0 points to potentially where he is now in P7? I don't want to jinx him too much, so that's all I'm going to say in terms of that front as well. But Greeny doing absolutely fantastic. It looks like the wet conditions are also made for him as well. But we can see Kazooie, I think, catching up to him too. So I'm guessing the soft tyres stint was a bit of a struggle, but it looks like he's handling the intermediate tyres a lot better, I think, due to the cooler tyre temperatures at this stage as well. Midnight still catching up to the back of KJ. You can barely see the track right now as well. It's allowing these guys to also catch up to Lamborghini and Benjamin as well, and is allowing Mish to run away even more. All it takes, Dan, is for anyone to make a mistake, and literally the likes of Midnight could be up a few positions.
Yeah, absolutely. As the rain just continues to get heavier, visibility becomes more and more of an issue. Lamborghini has just picked up a time penalty, and so has Greeny. So the mistakes are beginning to come out for these guys at the hairpin of the Anderson Bridge. It looks like that is a place where they get very, very close to each other. This train stems from second position all the way to around about 10th, where Table Clan is, who's just hooking onto the back of World Rally. So they're beginning to space out as you get further down the order. Will is still catching at a rate of knots. He's now 2.2 seconds back from Table Clan. Really strong showing from him today, as Midnight still hounding KJ Elting coming into the third sector. He just can't find a way through, and in the dry this could be a whole other story. He could have been passed by now. It seems like he has better pace in these conditions than KJ, but KJ's really strong when it comes to defending against his fellow drivers. So in the weaknesses and strengths of these drivers kind of counter themselves, as KJ's had a really big moment coming out of the final corner. Now Midnight can capitalise. There's no net contact, and Midnight's around of turn number 1, and oh, this is so unfortunate, as Midnight, he's off the circuit. KJ's got a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting, and Midnight, he just misjudged where he needed to brake, and that looks like his race could be done and dusted.
Yeah, he was running so well as well, but I think both of these drivers just took so many risks at this stage. I wonder if KJ has got damage as well. It's touching from both KJ and Lamborghini as well. So it looks like KJ taking a lot of gambles. He got a 3-second time penalty because of it. Still going side by side. Be careful, lads. Lamborghini's probably got damage as well. I'm not entirely sure, but it looks like okay so far. It's hard to tell from these wet conditions. More time penalties are there for the drivers. The black and white flags, for those of you that don't know, those are the drivers that have got a penalty. So 7 drivers on the grid have time penalty. Don't forget Tomato also got penalties, but he has retired from the race. And look, I think everyone is starting to struggle. Everyone is sliding all over the place. It'll probably be not that long before the wets come as well. But Benjamin's all over the back of Fabi. Could this be his chance to gain the move? Fabi, I think, stays ahead right now. But you can see, I think, as soon as the conditions get wetter, Benjamin is getting better. So I have to say, Benjamin could be on course to be getting P2 away from Fabi. Not the win. The win, I think, is off the cards for anyone. Unless you're Mish. I think Mish could pit any time. And you'll still come out ahead as Luca has got another 3-second time penalty to add to his name. But lots of drama unfolding in this race so far, and it's all down to, I think, the wet conditions.
Absolutely, the first really big blunder coming out from the rain. I just think Midnight was a bit too slidey, and you can't do that like you can do. The grip is just not there compared to the dry, so I don't think defense from KJ is to blame, but of course we might rewatch that back and that could be a different story. But well, he's just got to get on with it if Midnight is still going to continue on in this race. It looks like he's coming into the pit lane. That might be him done for today.
Yeah,
he's going to retire in the pit. So unfortunate for him.
And he's left straight away.
Yeah, that is... oh dear.
And Hadler's gone onto the wets. And you can see he's gone slidey. And he's not... Yeah, there's definitely not condition... I'm not entirely sure because he's absolutely chucking it down, or he might got damaged, but maybe I can't tell if it's good for inters or wets. It's probably on the cusp, I would say. I think they just got to manage with whatever tyre they've got. Obviously, Mish has the buffer. Everybody else does not. So everybody else has got to make sure that they get the gamble absolutely right as we're approaching half distance in a few laps time. As yeah, you could definitely start to see some of the standing water on some parts of the racetrack starting to form very, very soon. And on the helmet is absolutely chucking it down as well. But yeah, Benjamin dropping back just a little bit, but I think he's just being patient. I think these drivers is probably going to play the waiting game right now. If you make a move and mess up, then that's going to really hinder you on the wet conditions, because you're probably going to have to be forced to go on a tyre that necessarily may not be the best for the conditions, but it may get worse as time goes on.
Getting lap number 14, it's crazy to see that Mish is so far ahead. He is absolutely dominant in these conditions. I'm seeing in the chat that they're making a position for him to do an extra pit stop. Regardless of that, he would still come out probably if in the lead, or if not, he'd be right behind them. So I don't think it'll make too much of a difference, but you can see on the onboards with these guys is that it is just, it's almost too wet for the intermediates. I think they're at the point where they're right at the intermediates kind of tipping point, you could say. And actually Sammy Bean is going to be the first driver to really take the gamble. Looks like he's coming to the lane to get a wing change. So someone who's fighting for the championship, his race supremely is ruined in this one. He's going for the full wet blue wool tyres, so it is a certain gamble for him, and it might benefit for him in the long run, of course. But getting that wing change is not going to be ideal for the Spaniard, who's taken multiple wins this season. And he didn't even know that he could be racing right until about probably 5 minutes before the session actually started. So just a big struggle for him in this race.
Yeah, it looks like he's not going to be getting a win today, which will allow, I think, or even some points today by the looks of things, which will, I think, allow Mish to close in a little bit on this championship fight as well. And Fabi as well, who are joint on a point. So I think Fabi and Mish are probably going to be close together once again. And you can see Samuel Bean still struggling just a little bit. Let's see how he copes heading into turn 6 and heading towards turn 7. Still slidey for Samuel Bean. I should stop saying slidey anymore. But yeah, it's not the best, I think, for him. So yeah, that's why I think nobody is pitting. But yeah, it's I think 2017 was the only time it was obviously raining in Singapore, but that seems to be the only reason why Codemaster decided to put rain in Singapore a lot more on this game than not. Most Singapore races I've commentated on has rain effects, apart from last week in Xbox. I think that was the only exception to the norm, as Benjamin now 6 tenths behind Fabi. I don't think he's going to make the move anytime soon, but look at this, KJ and Lamakina is also joining in on this fight. Let's hope none of them make a mistake. But look at this, Greeny, Kazooie, World Rally. I think there's 5 drivers heading into the pits. I think they've decided that the inters are no good and they're going on to the full wets. Will this be a breakthrough for these drivers, or will this be a mistake? But it is coming down hard, so maybe it is probably right for them as well. Let's see who comes out first. It is Greeny that comes out. This could be a good strategy call if he gets this right. So good job to these drivers. But this will send waves to Fabi and Benjamin for them to pit as well?
Well, it just all depends on how these guys actually get on. I reckon that they just want to run their own race for now, but if they have called the strategy perfectly and it is the point where full wet tyres are a given, then you'd have to expect the guys at the front to come in too. But just from what Sammy Bean's done, he's not looking like he's gaining too much on the cars in front of him who have who has more tyres, a little bit more tread in them. So worn off actually. I'm kind of fumbling my words all about here, but we'll see from the gap between Name Changer and Greeny. It looks like Greeny is just beginning to catch ever so slightly on the car in front of him. It's not by much, but I certainly think that will start to be a bit more rapid as the race goes on. So I think now probably is the time, and Mish is into the pit. The race leader, he's got nothing to risk in this race, 26 seconds ahead of Fabi. He'll be on for a set of wet tyres to go to the end at the halfway point. It is a very big slugfest in this Grand Prix, really a race of attrition. Fabi will most likely be pulling into the pit lane, as is Benjamin and KJ and Lamakina. So this is the correct time to come into the pit lane. I don't think Ballina might actually have this. He's backing off on the pit entry so he doesn't get held by his teammate. That is quite smart from Ballina, but the intermediate tyres are definitely not correct anymore.
Luca has to stay out, of course, because obviously Lamakina has obviously pitted, but they probably had the buffer to possibly go into the pits there as well. If it was a safety car, you're probably not allowed to hold each other up as well. But if the gap was a decent amount behind you, then you would get away with it. And I said probably twice, so I won't say that anymore. So Fabi comes... Greeny actually is on the back of KJ. Greeny is actually just passing to turn 3 now in the kink into turn 4. Greeny's in a net P2. A net P2, because don't forget, and Fabi's on the inters. Oh dear. That is not what he wants. She's gonna struggle, but you can see Greeny's already catching up to him. That's gonna be I think I'm going to try and not jinx Greeny tonight, okay? As Greeny's doing so well as KJ, I think, hit the back of him. Yeah, I won't say anything more.
Same for Lamakina, he's on the intermediate tyres, and I think they might have forgotten to change the set. Sadly for their races, it just seems like that they are going to struggle so much in comparison to their rivals. As saying that, actually, Greeny doesn't look like he's catching up to Fabi too much, but of course he will have to pit at some point to go onto those full wet tyres. But I've got a rev glitch with Greeny, which is not nice to see. World Rally finds a way past Lamakina, and there's contact, and Lamakina has put World Rally into the wall. You could expect Lamakina to yield there, and there's contact as he's actually weaving to almost say sorry there, and
it made it worse.
Just gone into the back of him, so it's made it worse really. As well, it's a bit unnecessary, but you'd kind of expect Lamakina. He's not at any obligation to let him through, but just for the sake of holding up yourself and the car in front, realistically, it's not the smartest move from Lamakina.
No, it is not, and I think Benjamin got held up in the pits because I think Ballina and Benjamin pitted at exactly the same time as well, or it might be got held up by the teams. I don't know. CC Brain's also on the intermediate tyres. So it's not just the likes of Fabi and Lamakina that have also pitted, as well as Hadlow as well. This could be interesting. Maybe they think that it's going to get better and be on the inters, as we've got CC Brain on Ballina. I don't know, CC Brain sliding all over the place. It's a very tough call. Greeny's also on the back of Fabi. Let's go on board with the I would say a net P. I'll say net P2 battle, because obviously Name Changer and Luca will still have to pit. But Actually, no, because of the pit lane loss. I don't know. It's hard to tell around here. But yeah, Fabi is not doing too bad, but he's a driver that's done very well this season. Obviously, he got moved down to F1, got moved down to F2 after being in F1 last season. As you can see, I think Greeny just braking a little bit later than Fabi there, which is not helping. And Greeny is so desperate into getting his first points of the season. Late on the brakes goes Greeny. They pretty much made contact. I don't think there was damage there. But I think Greeny just wants to get the moves done here today. And Greeny's up into a net P2. My oh my, this will be a great result if he keeps this up. Last week we saw CC Brain getting a good result. We got KJ on the back of Fabi as well. This could be the wet shining moment at the moment. Here comes, I think, Kazooie as well around the back. But KJ not up into 5th place on track. Kazooie may go for a move here. Lay on the brakes once again. Trying to leave as much space as they possibly can. But Kazooie, I think, is going to hold on to the line. They're banging wheels, both of them. Fabi, I think. Oh, and we got Benjamin as well, also on the back as well. Benjamin gets past Fabi. Fabi, I think, is struggling and probably going to concede defeat. Luca goes into the pits. My oh my. A lot of battling's happening now, and that's all due to Fabi being on the intermediate tyres as Will gets past him as well.
Yeah, it just seems like he might have made that strategical blunder as all the intermediate runners are coming into the pit. You can see Table Clan trying to muscle Fabi out of the way here, and he's managed to find the move and make it stick. But Fabi really struggling at this point in the Grand Prix as all that fighting has kind of separated the pack up, and it might have ruined everything for the rest of the Grand Prix. But here's Zemo onto the back of Fabi. This should be an easy move. Fabi's been mullered by the pack. What can Zemo do? And he just has to stick back for the time being. It's not worth risking a dive in this one as World Rally finds a way through on CC Brain. So the intermediate tyres are certainly the wrong pick to be on at the moment. Saying that though, Name Changer's still on 13 lap old intermediate tyres, and it seems like he's struggling quite a lot. It looked for a moment that there was just a slight amount of lifting on the rein, and maybe I was going to say that the intermediates could have been a smart call from Fabi and CC Brain, but I don't think so anymore. It looks like the rain is continuing and it's not really lifting up as much as it was earlier on. So yeah, I think the intermediates are the wrong call to be on, but that's just what happens in these really unpredictable conditions. It's in the name, you cannot predict what is going to happen. Thinking about penalties at the moment, I'm just seeing Greeny's got 3 seconds, KJ has 6 seconds, and Kazooie has 3 as well. So Benjamin is actually in a really good position, and if he doesn't get any more penalties in this race, I believe he could be in 2nd position, another podium to add to his tally if that is the case. And it will be a strong showing from him, as Name Change is now going to cause some issues in the top 3.
Yeah, but I think Name Change is going to be a sitting duck for all these drivers, I have to say. And I know a few of these drivers will want to get past Name Changer ASAP. Benjamin has had 4 podiums to his name, and if he gets another podium here tonight, he will make it a 5th podium, as Kazooie is going to dive it around the left-hand side here, in just past turn 3 into turn 4. Kazooie gets the job done very nicely there in the Renault car and wants to win the constructors for the team. And you're seeing his teammate Samuel Bean struggling, but I've said earlier on in the session, if your teammate is struggling, you really want to be the one that gets points for your team, and Kazooie is definitely doing that, and I think Samuel Bean will be pretty happy with Kazooie's performance there.
Yeah, well, looking back at Name Changer and Benjamin, Benjamin's having a hard time
McKeena's out the
getting
race!
past him. And yeah, McKeena's retired in the pit lane there, as Benjamin has just found a way through on Name Changer. So has Will. So it looks like these intermediate tyres really struggling for him, and he's going to let his teammate go through, and Simo will be onto the back of him before long. So yeah, he is just in a world of hurt, is Name Changer at the moment. He's still for some reason committing to the strategy, but it's just not working out for him.
Yes, I wonder why McKeena's retired there as well. Obviously, Hadler's also retired in the pit lane as well, by the looks of things, unless he's binned it in the wall. Let's go on board with Mish. Actually, no, I just missed it. Yeah, it is in the pits as well. So it must have been maybe contact between those two, or it might just been two separate incidents, but I will probably ask them in the chat what happened between those two, and then I'll probably give you some confirmation into what happened during the stream as well. Well, on lap 20 out of 31, I'm quite surprised there's been no VSCs or safety cars yet, and I think it shows that a lot of these guys want to keep it cautious. There is a certain few that obviously want to take some risks, but it's not seemed to cause any safety cars. And we got Simo that has got past the name changer banner as well. As name changer decided that enough's enough for the Inters, and on to the wet he goes by the looks of things, or unless he's going to be doing Fabi, we'll have to find out. And it looks like, yeah, it is. Looks like it's going to be the wets for him. Nope, another set of Inters. I'm a bit confused about this. The Inters are definitely not the tyres to be on. I think name change is probably thinking of long term more than short term right now, but he's going to lose so much time to everybody else in the short term. There's probably best for him. He should have probably gone on to the wets earlier and then going on to the Inters later if the track starts to get better, but you know, we'll have to wait and see, and he is struggling, so yeah, maybe a disaster for name changer, but anything can happen in Formula 1. But just look at the gap between Mish and Greeny, 33 seconds. My oh my, I think we know who's going to win this race today, Dan.
Yeah, well, you can't rule anything out in this race. Of course, Mish is only human, and he still can make mistakes. So Greeny can't give up hope in this Grand Prix, despite it looking so unlikely. It really can change in an instant, especially if Mish even just picks up a bit of wing damage, and then that increases over time. But for now, he just has to focus. Greeny, I'm talking about, needs to focus on the charging KJL tank behind him. Of course, 6 seconds of penalties to his name in the on the Haas car, so he's going to be struggling in that term come at the end of the race, where he may drop down the order. But certainly, you'd want to do it for pride and do it on the circuit, and I'd expect him to start pushing to catch up to the back. But Kazui's also someone who I did tip to be one of the favourites in this Grand Prix. Unfortunately for him, that did not work out. I was just thinking about the rain coming later than it did, but of course things don't really pan out the way that the commentators make it, so it just seems like it's a bit of a boring race at the moment. No moves on circuit. Really upsetting to see, to be honest, because Singapore has potential to be a decent circuit. There are opportunities for overtakes, 3 DRS zones, but the rain really has kind of put a cork in that bottle, and nothing really will be working out for these guys.
I think the dry dance praying did not work for me, I think, earlier on today. I think I was praying, please no rain, and the rain did come. So I won't pray anymore, guys, and probably the rain will go away as well. And yeah, it hasn't been that interesting for this stint of the race so far, but sometimes it happens in Formula 1, and you just got to live with it. But it's not stopping the guys in the midfield battling, as Samuel Bean and CC Brain are going at it. I think Samuel Bean has just got past him into turn 7, and he's been caught, I think, with Fabi as well. Fabi dropping down quite a lot. Don't forget he was a net P2 earlier. Now he's 11th place at the moment, due to the fact that most of the intermediate runners have pitted. Unfortunately, Lamb has retired from the session. Another person who's retired from the pit lane. I guess he's another driver that has had enough. But you shouldn't really give up in a circuit like this, because especially in a street circuit, because you're going to get points if you're going to get some good results if you pretty much stay on track, really, if people like Lamp and Lamborghini retire as well. So that's probably the wrong thing to do, but if you're not going to gain positions, that's fine. But if you are going to gain positions, you may as well stay out. There could be trouble ahead of you that you could gain positions of. Oh, as Samuel Bean spun! Samuel Bean spun. Sorry to cut you there, Dan. As Samuel Bean has spun, has dropped down to 13th. Now Fabian and CC Brain have got past him. Samuel Bean's day has gone from bad to worse, Dan.
I don't think he spun the car though. I think he actually outbroke himself, put it in the wall, and that's undone all the work that he could have that he actually did on CC Brain and Fabi. So he's got to do that all over again. Probably going to be a little bit of wing damage, probably just minor, that we can't really see on the car. But in the case of Lamp retiring from the session, I do understand that he's had such a frustrating season. He works really hard in practice, so it's just unfortunate for him that he can't make a good result come. Here's Samuel Bean onto the back and down the inside of CC Brain into turn number 1, making that easy move work that he did a couple, I believe, last lap around actually. Now Fabi struggling on those intermediates. Should be an easy move. Sitting Ducky smells blood in the water. He's going to go up the inside at turn number 4. That is a risky move for Samuel Bean, but he's made it work. Fabi has to concede and now back up into 11th position. He's lost a whole heap of time, but Samuel Bean back on the charge. I don't think he's likely to get any points, provided everyone else in the top 10 actually manages to get around the circuit. But never say never for Samuel Bean. He's not too far off the back of World Rally, and anything can happen in this one.
Yeah, exactly. Luca and Fabi, they were fighting as well. Fabi's dropped down another position. Yeah, the Inters are definitely not the best, but Fabi is still battling with CC Brain though as well, so they're still giving entertainment for the viewers at home, which is amazing to see. And there are fans on the game, obviously, but in real life there will probably be no fans as well. And I do believe Mercedes are running a black livery this season again as well, which is great to see, as the gap now 33.5 seconds from Mish to Greeny. Greeny in second, KJ in third. KJ could be on for a decent result again. He could be on for a podium position in this race. Don't forget, this is his second race at PSGL, but I've seen him in other leagues and he's done absolutely fantastic on the racetrack. And to be honest, he could, if he was to join like at the beginning of the season, he definitely, I think, potentially would have been a good challenge if there was more wet races. But, you know, he must be loving it so far. He's made a few mistakes earlier on in the race, but he's forgetting about that, and he's driving so well and trying to catch up into Greeny. We are probably going to get some shot results here today, and that's what I like to see. We've seen World Rally get a win last week. We're going to see Greeny possibly take P2 and KJ taking P3. And it's nice to see different people near the top of the podium, that's for sure.
And you can't really forget too much about the penalties. I believe Greeny might be dropping down to P3 after this one because of Benjamin jumping all the cars in front. KJ Elting will probably drop to around about 6th or 7th position, so it is unfortunate that he's put in such a shift today, and it might be undone as I've just gone on board with name change. Really sliding the car out there. He's not having a good day whatsoever, and it looks like Sammy Beans and he spun there. He might have made contact with Luca. These two involved in a scrap last week as well, which saw Sammy Bean getting 2 penalty points added to his license, as well as a 5-second time penalty, dropping him down the order to around about 8th position, if I remember correctly. So I wonder if there's been blood drawn between the pair of them. I don't think so. I think maybe Sammy Bean might have dropped that one on his own, because I don't remember Luca being quite so close on the timing sheet. But Sammy Bean just not having a good day at all in this one, and it's almost seeming impossible that he can take points.
Yeah, I think it's probably inevitable because the gap is so high at the moment. Then it's going to be very, very tough indeed for him. But sometimes you are allowed to have bad races. And don't forget, his first race at PSGL F2 for a while. Actually, no, apart from obviously Belgium, his first race as a full-time driver, he only managed P15, and he's P12 at the moment. And it was in near the wet conditions towards the end. So I think it just shows that Samuel Bean, Dan, does not like wet conditions.
Yeah, well, I guess that kind of puts to show where Benjamin is gaining that advantage. It's the versatility that Samuel Bean lacks. If he can't do it in the wet, then he's not going to have a good shot of actually challenging for the championship. So he's got to work on that wet pace. Benjamin still able to put in some decent performances, as I believe name change has gone for a little bit of a spin at the Anderson Bridge. He's almost a lap down from Greeny. He's a lap down by quite some way behind Mish, who's just extending that gap. He's loving life. He's using up quite a bit of his ERS at the moment, but
he's insane.
He's having a brilliant race today.
He's honestly, I have to say, Misha's never put a foot wrong since really the start of the race. Really, he's got pole. He's led every single lap so far, and he on the soft run, even like before the rain came, he was absolutely dominating as well. And what I've noticed as well, the rain is not coming down as hard as earlier on, so it could be the time for the drivers to go on to the intermediates. It definitely doesn't look like it was raining hard as it was before. There's still standing water. That's why a lot of these drivers are on the wet tyres. But yeah, that's probably why the likes of Fabi and CC Brain went on to the Inters early on, because I think they were going to dry up get better as quickly as they can. His name changer is out of the race, and he got a 5-second penalty, so that was probably why. And that's another retirement to add to the list today. 14 drivers remain, and yeah, I think a name changer not scoring many points this season, but surely he could bounce back next week when we head to COTA in the United States.
Well, taking a win in Bahrain last season, name changer has just not really got off the mark so late in the championship already. I think season 27 could be a write-off from him. I do apologise if my throat sounds a little bit raspy, but I'm having some issues at the moment with that. I'm coughing off the mic. I might have to go and get some water because I am beginning to struggle. But looks like at this point KJ's not gaining on Greeny, and the rain certainly is getting a bit lighter in this one. So yeah, I can see they're thinking behind Fabi and CC Brain to go onto that set of intermediate tyres, but to do it for so long like they have done already. They've been on the full wets for about 9 laps so far in this race, and it's just not paid off for them whatsoever.
No, and the intermediates are due to last the same time as the mediums, which is 16 laps. So I think probably going on the wets would have been the best option for them at this point, and they probably would have not lost time. Fabi would have been second. But you got to take the gamble sometimes in racing, and Fabi, I think, will learn from tonight, and probably if something similar happens to him again, he won't do the same thing. So, but, you know, lobbies are different in league racing. Sometimes you get rain that comes at the start, the middle, or towards the end of the session. It's just how the drivers deal with it at this stage. So if Mitch is staying out, I believe Greeny's going to be doing the same. Obviously, still the standing water is still there, so that is probably why as well. But will it be enough for some of these drivers to come in now, or they have to make sure they keep those wet tyres in a good niche for the rest of the race? Table Climb has decided enough's enough on the wet tyres, as it seems. I do believe he's also going on to the Inters then. So let's see if his gamble is going to pay off. And yes, he does go on to the intermediate tyres. Let us know in chat, guys. Do you think the Inters are the right time to be on now, or do you think the staying on the wet for just a few laps longer would have probably been the best option? But we will see. I think maybe Table Clan's possibly done the right thing, but he's going to struggle with sectors which have standing water, I have to say. But Mish could do whatever he wants. Mish is in the lead, so and if he struggles, he could just go and pit again, and he'll probably still come out ahead as well. It's still slippery at the moment though, so it's going to be tricky for him. But he's going to be like 40 seconds clear of the rest of the field if he carries on at the rate of knots at the moment. And we're lap 26 out of 31 right now, and you know, and we still got the battle for the podium to be decided. But don't forget, penalties could decide everything at this race. Only 5 drivers getting penalties out of the ones that are still in this race.
Yeah, so coming on to the, just at the ending of lap 26 here, Misha's actually just begun lap 27. They might not even decide to pit for the intermediates, and they might just try and go on these wets all the way to the end of the Grand Prix. Whether that is true to be seen, it is up to the drivers as to when they want to come into the pit lane. So we'll see if Greeny decides to come in. Misha's decided to stay out. I don't think he wants to take a risk in anything, because those hot wet tyres can certainly go to the end, and you've got such a huge buffer to the cars behind. It is probably not worth making the pit stop. So I'd say it is going to be wets stuck out to the end. I don't think Table Clan and Balan are going to have enough laps around the circuit to really make an impact on the order. Maybe they can catch up to to World Rally, who is struggling with a bit of wing damage. It is certainly getting lighter, and you can just see on the onboards how much rain is falling. There's still a bit of a glossy sheen to the circuit, so there is still a lot of standing water, but on the racing line it's seemingly drying up quite a bit.
Yeah, I think you just have to learn which is the dry line and which is the much wetter line as well, and I think a few drivers will have to adapt to what the Table Clan is doing. And yeah, you can see how wet it is just at turn number 1 as well, and he just went past a bit of standing water there as well, Table Clan as well. But it's how he adapts to it as well. Luckily, Banner behind him is on the intermediate tyres also, so he's not gonna be that the buffer's gonna be not too bad for him either as well. But yeah, it looks like we could see a fantastic end and interesting strategies maybe coming into their minds as well. Maybe Jeff may tell them to go on to the Inters, but they may decide it may be too late. But sometimes Jeff is wrong on this game. Sometimes I do a strategies which is a lot better than what Jeff tells me, and you know, but it happens on this game sometimes. But anyway, lap 28 of 31 now as Mish is about, well, we just started lap 28 heading in towards turn 3. Greeny and KJ are still having a battle in sector 3. I still don't know how to come out on top. Let me actually get the penalties for you at this stage. Benjamin is looking on course to definitely get a podium in this race if he keeps this up. I'm just looking at the gap to lead. Just give me a second as I'll look at penalties as well. I'm looking at the wrong thing. It looks like, according to this, Benjamin could get P2 in this race because Benjamin has got no penalties, where the rest of his drivers have got more than that. So it'll be Benjamin P2 and Greeny P3. And I think it just goes to show if you don't get penalties around here, you could get rewards, and Benjamin could extend his lead just a little bit on Samuel Bean, which is very, very important. So Benjamin, I think, is probably just going to keep on pace with these guys, really. That's all he needs to do.
Benjamin's certainly in the best position out of anyone in this train, and he's got plenty of time left to really stick onto the back of these guys, and if he makes a mistake, he'll have that buffer, just a little bit of time to really catch up back with them. So I believe Benjamin will be P2, and the only other order change would probably be Will actually jumping KJ as well as Shizui. Yes, Shizui jumping KJ too. So
Shizui?
KJ.
You mean Kazooie?
Shizui. No, let's call him Shizui now because it's the team that he's a part of, and it just fits perfectly well together.
It does. So sorry, Kazooie, that we're calling it. Sorry, Kazooie, that we're calling you Shizui. But he's still doing quite well. A podium is still in sight for him if he could get past both KJ and Greeny. Obviously, he'll be ahead of KJ anyway. But so basically, he'll stay fourth, just because KJ has got 6 seconds worth of penalties, which I think for him is a good thing. So he's probably not pushing that much either as well. I think it's pretty much good for all of these guys, trying to get all these cars until the end of the race. I think that's all they're going to do, which doesn't make it interesting for the viewers at home, but at least they can get their car home in one piece, get some points, which will help them in the championship and maybe the Constructors' Battle, which are the likes of Kazooie, for example, as well. So we're still on lap 29. I think Mish is just going past, I would say, another left-hander as well. He's going to be there for quite a while. Greeny is about to go past turn 3 as KJ still on the back. I know KJ wants to get the move done anytime soon. You can still see the rain coming down a bit harder, but not as hard as last time. But I think it will be too late for these guys to go on to the intermediate tyres, because if you do and Mish doesn't, you will almost certain will be lapped. So you've got to pretty much deal with whatever tyre you have in front of you, as KJ does not want to lose out on this podium, but he's still going to get some decent points anyway. So Halisi is still fighting as well. Table Clan on the back of World Rally as well. This is a battle for P8 on track, and Table Clan hits the back of World Rally sadly for position, and let's see, Table Clan's going to dive it in to the right hand side. I think World Rally might have picked a bit of damage there, but not entirely sure. But Table Clan gets P8 anyway on track. I think that's where he's going to stay, as he's 18.5 seconds behind his nearest rival Simo in P7 on the track at this stage. These guys just not making a move up front. This is going to stay like it is for a very long time.
Well, World Rally does have wing damage. He never pitted to get it repaired from his skirmish with Lamakina,
yes.
So he's still got that end plate damage that he is lumbering around. He's lost a lot of time. He probably won't lose out on the points because Ballina is about 6 seconds back with only 2 laps to go, as well as Luca being miles back too. So realistically, the only fight that we can really watch on circuit is between KJ and Greeny, and just something to worth a mention is that both of the Williams cars, Will included, Will said in the Twitter chat that he had minus 200 degrees tyres at the start. So it's good to see him. He's managed to find his way up to 6th. He was fighting outside the points for a long time in this race. He's certainly got to be a candidate for driver of the day. Really strong competitor in the wet, but Tomato as well wasn't put off to a good start because of I believe he said in the YouTube chat that he had minus 80 degrees tyres. So it's good to see Codemasters that you haven't fixed an issue that's been in the game for months. It was really publicised by famous YouTuber TRL Limitless, who didn't. Sorry, I've lost my train of words because something happened. AJ's lost a lot of time.
Who also had cold tyres, I would assume, and sometimes hot tyres in some tracks too. If you watch his latest YouTube video as well, where he does like to race a lot, but he wants to get some good races, so that is why as well. He is talented at what he does, and but I did say that the gap could get to 40 seconds over first and second. It has already. How is he doing this? How is Mish doing this? I mean, he's just on cloud 9. If other tiers are seeing this, they're probably going to be watching out for Mish. I mean, like, Mish is probably going to hope it rains for the foreseeable future in every race so far, because if he does, he could probably put at least 1 foot on that championship very soon. But obviously, I don't think it will rain every race, because otherwise what would happen? But we did see that happen in the first half of last season, so anything can happen. But I do know the guys from, I think, P2 downwards are going to start pushing even more now as we head towards, well, Mish is on the final lap, but everyone else is going to be heading towards the final lap at this moment in time, and they want to gain as many positions as they possibly can. And fair play to all the 14 drivers that are sticking it out, especially Samuel Bean as well, starting from last of the grid where he wasn't meant to start as well. As Greeny's picked up a penalty as well, so he's going to lose out on the podium, which is a shame. Commentator's curse for him, and that means Kazooie has probably been promoted 1 position to a podium spot due to the fact Kazooie has less penalties.
I believe that means that Will is also going to jump him too, as it just looks like Kazooie is catching up to Elton. Could try and make it on circuit. I was going to say that it's going to really incentivize KJ to make an overtake on Greeny, but he just couldn't find an avenue through. So unfortunately for him, he's probably going to be sticking behind the Mercedes driver. Really strong performance from him too, but someone who's in the third sector. Mish has done so well today. Sammy Bean has spun the car. He's done that quite a few times tonight, but he's been on merit. He's been without points for 2 races now, having a little bit of a slide in the final sector. Mish has just got a couple more corners to go. You can see how much he's really bearing with those tyres, but it does not matter anymore because Mish is going to come around the final corner and he's going to take win number 2 for his championship hunt. He's going to jump Samuel Bean. He spins across the line in celebration. What a performance from him. He takes the win in Singapore.
To be honest, 42 seconds, the biggest gap I've seen from a race winner for a long time, probably ever on the F1 game. So fair play to Mish there, but the battles are not over. Who's going to get the podium spots out of Greeny and KJ? We know Kazooie is going to get 1, and Benjamin, actually no, Kazooie and Benjamin will get it. I think Benjamin's going to get P2, Kazooie's going to get P3, but who's going to get P4? We'll have to wait and see. So Greeny is going to get his first point, I believe, regardless of what happens, which I have to say, fair play to him. Shame about him getting another 3-second penalty. But there we go. That definitely cost him a podium there. But Benjamin takes another podium. So does Kazooie. Greeny with his first points. Will with a good recovery drive up to 5th place. KJ with another set of points in 6th. Simo 7th. Table Clan in 8th. Ballina is going to come across the line in 9th. I think he's going to stay in 9th because the buffer is decent enough for him to keep that. And Royal Rally is going to be getting his to get the final point of the race as he bins it there, but it doesn't matter, of course. But the star of Singapore, the star under the lights tonight, is Mish there, and very deserving of him. And to be honest, it's going to be an interesting fight, I think, between Mish, Samuel Bean, and Benjamin for the title now. It's turning in from a 2-horse fight to a 3-horse fight. I can't wait.
And he's managed to pick up a couple of points on his rival, I believe. Fabi has actually just lost the position to CC Brain. He's going to be the last driver to cross the line. CC Brain also reversing it across the line in style there, as Fabi's going to cross the line as
Oh
well. He's
my
actually
God.
just smashed into...
That was funny.
That is quite the sight to see.
Well, hopefully they didn't retire.
Him.
Hopefully they didn't retire, but they would have been classified. They would have been
Still
classified anyway, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, Simo in game gets your driver of the day. Who would get it for us? We'll discuss in a minute. But for the first time in a long while, since since France, we've got a racing point on the top step of the podium, which is great to see, of course, and this makes it another person to get 2 wins this season. Obviously 3 people that got 2 wins this season. Lee Finley, who was moved to F1, Samuel Bean, and obviously now Mish as well. Benjamin still yet to get a win, and he still leads the championship after tonight. When will that win come? We'll find out. Anyway, Mish wins from Benjamin, from Kazui, Greeny, Will, KJ, Simo, Table Clan, Ballina, World Rally is your final points finisher for tonight. And your final finishers are Luca, CC Brain, Fabi, and Samuel Bean. And your retirements are, there's quite a lot of them: Name Changer, Lamp, Makina, Hadler, Midnight, and Tomato there. Your retirements there. But yeah, who would you give your driver of the day, Dan?
Probably a bit of an unconventional one, but I'd say Will is going to be my driver of the day. In P5, he had a really strong performance and being spun around to the back of the grid early on with his -degree tyres. He did so well to manage to climb up the order, get into 5th position, really take advantage of the car. His best lap was a 51.7, so it really showed how he struggled on the slick tyres when everyone else was putting in a decent enough time. So really impressed by him. I've got to say he's my driver of the day.
It's very, very tough. Mish obviously so dominant. I think I would have to give it to Mish, to be honest. I would have to say, how would he keep the gap so much to everybody else? It's insane. So I think Mish, and Will get some good mentions there as well. So well done to those two. Well done to our podium sitters as well. So I believe we're going to get some podium interviews. So I'm going to go into the Twitter chat as well and see if anyone would like to join us. I know Mish joined us before on one of the interviews, I believe. I think it was round 1 that he joined us. I believe he joined us in France as well. So I'm going to try and get these guys in because we would like to hear their thoughts of how the races have gone on. So let me just ask them as well. Next week, of course, we head to United States and a penalty central track, I have to say, for the United States Grand Prix. And I have to say, I think we're going to get more battles in USA. It's just a track that every time the drivers come to race at, I really do enjoy the battles, in particular in the second sector.
Yeah, USA is almost the polar opposite of Singapore. It's really open. There's a lot of places where you can make opportunities for overtakes. So I'm really excited to go there next week. A personal favourite of mine, actually. So brilliant to see that we go there.
Yeah, I think one of my favourite tracks on the calendar as well. So thank you to whoever put that on as well. So anyway, we're going to get... Kazui wants to go into the interview box, and he's probably a regular in the interview box now, so we're going to try and get him in. So as soon as Kazui joins, we can get him in. But I would like to get a race winner as well, because I want to know how he kept those tyres, and how he managed that soft stint very well at the start, and how we managed the wet conditions pretty much for the whole race and got that win. I mean, absolutely insane, I have to say. So we'll just wait for a moment. Hopefully it shan't be too long. But whilst you're here, whilst the interviews are happening, go and watch F1 as well, which I think the race has already started, I think 5-10 minutes ago. I'll put the link in the chat. Whilst you watch the interviews, you can watch F1 as well. So I'll put it in the chat. I know, there we go. I'll put it in the chat. There you go. The link there to the F1 stream is there for you. No sign of Kazui though. I thought he would join. I bet you he'll probably join us just about, we're about to end the stream, so I'll just say join then. Is there any other races, Dan, you're looking forward to as well as USA for the final part of the calendar?
I believe that we're heading to Japan in 2 weeks' time. I think I'm right in saying that, but we are definitely going to Japan.
Japan's the final race of the calendar.
Oh, it's the final race. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Well,
I'm excited for Japan, I have to say. USA and Japan. I think Mexico and Abu Dhabi, I think dull tracks in my opinion. I know Abu Dhabi provides much better league races than real life races. But yeah, I think Japan and USA are the ones I'm looking forward to. But yeah, I can see why you're enjoying Japan. But we got two of our podiums. I think we're gonna start. I'll start from third to first. So we'll put Kazooie in first as Kazooie. Another podium to add to the books there. You got some penalties there, but that didn't affect you in the slightest. And tell us, how does it feel to get another podium and to get some more decent points on the board?
Yeah, it feels great, but I don't know if I still get the podium because of KJ. I think his penalty will get removed, but I'm still happy to be here once again. Maybe this will be like a small streak. Would be pretty nice.
Yes.
But yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm finished.
Yes, I believe it's your third podium in a row, 'cause you got one in Italy and you got one in Russia as well. I mean, is this going to be the continuation of your continuous form, or is it just a moment where you can't become complacent?
No, I hope I can keep this form up. It's pretty nice at the moment, so yeah, why not? Would be great.
And tell us how you coped with the wet conditions, and when you saw they was about to get worse and going from inters to wets, and what was the crossover period like for you? Was it hard?
Yeah, this race was pretty annoying. I was asking Jeff like every lap like 10 times. And yeah, then he did the call for wets, and I did the undercut on I think Benjamin it was, and many more. But I just jumped Benjamin, I think. And yeah, but on the first medium stint, I went to the pits and I was on track like second, I think. And I went out of the pits in P10 or something. That yeah, was pretty annoying.
Yes, and I think it was a moment where you just wanted to. I think when you got towards the end, I think it was more about attrition more than anything. When you saw the track getting lighter again, and did the standing water help you decide that you wanted to stay on the wet tires?
Yeah, I mean, track position is everything in Singapore, so yeah, that was crucial to stay out.
I think that was probably what I would have done as well. So we'll head to United States next week. Hopefully it won't rain next week for you there. Is that a track where you done well in the past? Have you done a race in USA with no assist before?
USA, right?
Yeah, USA, yeah. Have you done a race with no assist in USA before?
Once, yeah, and I won it, yeah.
Oh, so that's going to give you some confidence, I think, going into next week. As well, because I believe, as far as I'm aware, you haven't got a win this season. Could we see a win on the cards for you next week?
I hope so. Would be nice, but yeah, it comes like it comes. Yeah.
Yeah, if it comes this season or if it comes next season, we'll have to find out. Dan, any questions for Kazooie?
Yeah, well, I was gonna have one question, but it was just asked right there and then. But I guess I can come up with one on the spot. This is your third podium in a row, so and you're not too far off of the championship hunt. If you put in more consistent performances like this, do you think you could maybe have a little sniff of a fight for the championship at one point?
No, I don't think so. Benjamin is really quick, and we have Zamubin as well in front, but he didn't finish in the points today, I think.
Nope, he did not.
But Benjamin is just a little bit too quick, I would say. So props to him. But a fight would be nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, never say never, but a really good job. Well, really good job today. I hope you can get more podiums in the future.
Thanks.
Right, we've seen our third place man. Let's speak to our second place man and the leader of the championship who is still yet to get a win. Benjamin, congratulations on your P2 there. How hard was it to stay penalty free just to get that good result there?
Yeah, it was a little bit tricky in the rain. I had 1 warning or 2 warnings, I'm not sure.
Ooh.
From lap 5, I think. But yeah, we couldn't really push because of the dirty air and the bad traction behind another car. So yeah, I'm happy. I think I lost some points to Miche, but Samu Bean lost a lot of points today. So yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah, so when you saw that the weather was going to rain for majority of the race, how did that make you feel in terms of your qualifying strategy? Did that change things a little bit?
Yeah, so if it was dry, we were gonna look what the time's gonna be on softs, because we knew Bliner and I and KJ, we had good pace on the softs and both on the mediums as well. So it was really depending on the session itself. So the rain came and we thought it was gonna come a little bit later, so we're gonna go on the mediums. But it came fairly early, so yeah, should have gone on softs really.
Yeah, you're involved in battles throughout as well. How hard was it keeping the car on the track in these wet conditions? Were there moments, especially in the full wet conditions, where you could barely see and you find it hard to judge your braking references?
Well, the braking was okay, but just you can't see the apexes when it's raining like that. Yeah, traction was horrible. I had a completely dry setup as well.
Oh,
You can't overtake, so
dry
it was a plan to
setup
keep
in
the
the
dry
wet.
setup. But
That's it. Honestly,
wet
Ben,
setups.
that's insane.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people had a dry setup, but yeah, wet setups aren't really that good on this game. Only in time trial, like for 1 lap, it's good, but it starts overheating and then.
I think I could agree with you on that one. I don't like wet setups on this game either, but yeah, fair play to that. I mean, how you coped is unbelievable, but good job for you there. And now you saw Samuel Bean dropping down the order today, and obviously Mish closing in. Does that make it harder to know who you want to try and beat every race now? Because you've been consistent now pretty much for the whole season. Do you think you could beat any of those rivals?
Yeah, I think that I can beat them. Just a normal race without rain would be nice, and then
yes,
I can really show my pace. And yeah, I just want this win this season. Otherwise, I don't want to be a champion without a win. I want to say it like that.
That has never happened in Formula One, never. So you would probably be the first if that happened. And
I don't know if you should be happy with that, but
well, it'll be I think it'll be a PSGL first, but I'll find out if it's happened in PSGL before. But we shall see. I was going to ask one question, but I think I know Dan would like to answer that question, so I'll leave it to him. So Dan, do you have any questions?
Yeah, well, I've got one to ask. You say that you're just hunting for that win. Well, we've got 4 rounds left in the championship. Which of those races or tracks would you say you have the best chance at winning at?
I'm pretty sure Japan. It's my favorite track by far. So yeah, if I perform well there in quali, I should be able to get a win there, and I'm really excited for Japan.
Yeah, of course, that's the final race this season, so you've got quite a ways to wait before that, but I just hope you can keep the performances up and stay as strong as you are.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to Benjamin and Kazui for joining us in the commentary box for the interviews. I don't think Mish would probably want to join us as well. He's probably celebrating after his dominant win, and he's probably hoping for more wins in the future as well. I think Mish is going to hope for more wet races. I hope we don't. I hope we get some dry races, because that's a little bit more fun. Anyway, thank you so much everyone for joining us in PSGL F2 tonight. We'll be back same time next week, 7 o'clock, for the United States Grand Prix. But Formula Performance will be on tomorrow for the first round the first lot of USA race, if you want to check that out, as we got the lower tiers of PlayStation as well as the top tier of Xbox on Thursday and PC on Thursday, where I believe I need to check where PC is on Thursday. I believe it's Spain. I'll need to double check that, but I might be wrong, but we'll see about that. And then we obviously got the middle tiers on Sunday, and obviously the top tiers on Monday. I've been Jess Games 95. Thank you, Dan, for joining me in the commentary box as always.
It's been brilliant, brilliant tonight, and I can't wait for USA next week.
Yeah, and we will see you same time next week for the United States Grand Prix. Goodbye.